Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and today is Friday. So for today's Friday reads, I'd like to tell you what I read for the Tome Topple Readathon, which just ended yesterday, and then tell you what I'm going to be reading for the next few days up until the end of the month. So let's get started. This was round 3 of Tome Topple. If you don't know, Tome Topple was created by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, and it is hosted by several wonderful hosts that did awesome Twitter sprints, and I really enjoyed those. So thanks to all you guys who were hosts for that. I really appreciated it. I had a lot of fun just chatting with people on Twitter. I managed to read over 3,000 pages, and I finished 5 tomes. I also started a 6th one, and I got about 150, 160 pages read in that one. So this was a very successful readathon for me. I am a slow reader. I know that probably doesn't sound right if I tell you I finished 5 tomes in 2 weeks, but really I am. 2 of the books I finished were print books, but they were not difficult reads, and then the rest of them I had on audio. So that was how I was able to accomplish as much as I did. So let's get started. Let me tell you what I read for Tome Topple, and then I will tell you a little bit about what my daughter Katie read for Tome Topple, because she participated as well, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I plan to read in the next few days leading up to the end of the month. So here are the books that I read for Tome Topple. 5 of these I finished, and then the one on the bottom I got a good start on, and I'm going to go ahead and finish it this week. I did a mid-readathon check-in last Friday, and I already told you about 2 of them. The first book I finished was Wonderstruck. This counted for the graphic novel challenge because it is half words and half pictures. So this is by Brian Selznick, and I thought this was a wonderful book. The second one I finished was an audiobook, The Shelters of Stone by Jean M. Auel. This is book 5 in the Earth Children series. If you're not familiar with it, this is one of the sequels to Clan of the Cave Bear, and it's not as good as Clan of the Cave Bear. It does get very detailed, very repetitive, but if you enjoy the story and you enjoy learning about the flora and the fauna, and you know, a little bit about the Neanderthal, Stone Age, Ice Age people, then I think you will find this very interesting. This counted for the challenge to read an adult novel. Alright, the next one I finished is Gemina, the second in the Illuminae files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I buddy read this with Elizabeth Tyree, and we had a lot of fun. We divided the book into 4 parts, and then we checked in with each other after each of the parts, except I just realized I don't think I've ever gone back and commented since I finished it. So Elizabeth, if you're watching, I'll do that as soon as I can. Hopefully I will have done it by the time this video goes up. So this was a lot of fun. I think I talked a little bit about this last time because I had already started it, but this book is very exciting. There is a lot of twists and turns. It is fast-paced, action-packed. I think really it's a better story than the first book, but you know, it all works together. So it was a lot of fun. You know, of course there would be some bad language, but it's censored out, but then of course it makes you have to think what the bad words are. So you know, that part is not my favorite thing. I don't like all these bad words floating around in my head, but the storyline I thought was great. It's very exciting, and it is definitely a roller coaster ride. I had another buddy read. I read this one with my daughter Katie. This is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's the 4th Harry Potter book. I have never read Harry Potter before, so this is my first time through. She's already read this one twice, but we listened to this on audio, mostly in the car, and towards the last couple of days we brought the CDs in the house and we crammed them into the last couple of days of Tome Topple so we could say we finished it, and I enjoyed it. Of course, as most of you know, because you've read this whole series, this one has some sad parts, but I thought it was a very exciting story. It was action-packed. You know, there's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of mysterious things that happen, and I thought it was very enjoyable. So I definitely want to continue on and finish the series at least one time. So I'm glad I had a good excuse to get this one read. And then I also read Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. This counted as my series book. This is the 3rd book in the Farseer trilogy, so I can check another series off my list. And I really enjoyed this. This had definitely a lot of interesting, mysterious, dark, compelling things that happened. I thought it was great. I definitely want to continue on and read more of Robin Hobb's books, and I really enjoyed it. This was actually the fourth book I finished. I finished this up on Thursday afternoon because still at that point Katie and I had not finished Goblet of Fire, so we finished that up about 9 o'clock on Thursday night. And then I picked up Eldest by Christopher Paolini. I had started this earlier in the week. Even though I had this on audio, I decided I would go ahead and start it in print. I needed to take a book with me somewhere. I can't even remember now where it was. So I had gotten about 100 and something pages read in this. So I picked this back up and I read this for a little while until I got too sleepy to read anymore on Thursday night. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this week. Probably in my car. I will just, I've got the CDs and I'll just continue listening to this while I'm driving, and this will be my car book to finish out the month. So that's what I read for Tome Topple. Now Katie, my daughter, she's 13, she actually finished 4 tomes for this 2-week period. She's not going to be in my video today. She didn't want to do it, but she was in my video last week. But she read 2 of the books that I read. Of course, one of her books was our buddy read, which was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The first book she read at the beginning of Tome Topple was The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. She might have already barely started this before Tome Topple started, but she wasn't very far into it at that time. So she easily read this one during that first week. And then she picked up Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick, again, which is what I read. So this met also her challenge to read a graphic novel. She read this in one day. And then she read another series book. This is The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan. It's the first in the Kane Chronicles. And I think she really enjoyed this. She was so close to being finished last night, and she was getting sleepy. She had 1 chapter left, and I kind of twisted her arm to finish it instead of making her go to bed, which is what a good mother would have done. And so we were late to school today. But anyway, she finished 4 books for Tome Topple, and I was really proud of her. The only challenge she didn't complete is a challenge to read an adult novel, and she's 13, so why should she be reading adult novels anyway? But I did encourage her to at least try to read The Fellowship of the Ring, because this would have completed that challenge. And she read 3 or 4 pages and just decided she wasn't ready for this yet. She just wasn't interested in it. Now, she has seen the movies, and we have enjoyed the movies, but she's just not in the mood to read this at this point. But she did try, so that's okay. So here are Katie's tomes for Tome Topple. Not too bad for a 13-year-old, wouldn't you say? So my total pages read, I'm going to type it in below because I can't remember now exactly what the figure was. So going forward, what am I going to read during this coming week? I've actually already gotten into a couple of other books today, and I have several things that I want to finish before the end of the month. So let me show you what they are. I definitely plan to finish Eldest. So other than Eldest, most of the books that I want to finish this week are related to my book club at the public library, because I didn't quite finish Once and Future King, which is what we discussed yesterday. In February, I listened to Sword in the Stone, and then in the first week of April, before Tome Topple started, I listened to the next 2 parts of Once and Future King, which are The Witch in the Wood and The Ill-Fated Knight. But I could not get to the last part, which is The Candle in the Wind. So I think I barely started it, and actually yesterday I did listen to maybe about an hour or less than an hour of it after I finished Assassin's Quest. And so I listened to a little bit more today, and this is all I have left of Candle in the Wind. I've been listening to it on audio, which is also coupled with the Book of Merlin. So I'm going to finish all of the Once and Future King books, and then I can, check all of those off my list. We already had book club. It turned out I was the only one that read it, at least read most of it. The rest of them all started it, but they just didn't get very far. They just didn't like it. They said the font was too small. They just couldn't get into it. So the one book club member who had wanted to read it, who had read it before, was out of town. So I kind of gave him a brief synopsis of the parts that I had read, and basically what I told him is it's just a big soap opera. I didn't really enjoy it myself, but because I had it on audio, I was able to get through a lot of it. Now, Sword in the Stone, you're all familiar with that if you've seen the movie. That pretty much went along with that, except the movie left out the boring parts. But the rest of the book is pretty much a big soap opera. It's the love triangle of King Arthur, Lancelot, and Guinevere, and all of the drama that relates to that. That's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as what I can tell. So these I'll be finishing. And then our May book is Where the Heart Is by Billy Letts. This is an Oprah Book Club selection. I have read this before because my mother actually knew Billy Letts. Billy Letts is from my home county. I've met her husband and son. My mother knew her, and we were just thrilled for her when her book hit the bestseller list. You know, it made the Oprah Book Club, and that was really a big deal for my hometown area, which is in Oklahoma. So the sad thing is that Billy Letts had 4 books published, and then in 2014, I believe, she passed away. So there's not going to be any more books from her, but this one was her debut novel, and of the 3 I've read, this is still my favorite. So I will tell you a little bit more about it after I reread it. I read it several years ago, and so I think it's time that I read it again. And then our June book club selection is by Cokie Roberts. It's Founding Mothers, The Women Who Raised Our Nation. I actually went ahead and started this today. It has 7 chapters, and so I'm going to try to just go ahead and read a chapter a day and finish this up now, because in May I'm just going to read middle grade books, and in June I'm just going to read big books, and this is under 400 pages, so I just want to go ahead and get it read, get it out of the way. And so far it's really interesting. It is about the women, the wives and the women in the lives of the founding fathers. So it is quite interesting to see what part the women played in the founding of our country. And then I am going to go back to some Tony Hillerman, because for our July meeting, we are reading Skinwalkers, which is book 7 in the Joe Leaphorn mysteries. And I've read the first 2, which are in this bind-up. And so I am going to read the 3rd one, which is Listening Woman. These are slow reads for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of work my way through them, hopefully, so that by the time July rolls around, I will have read Skinwalkers. Now, I do have the first 3 weeks of July to read as many as I can get read. But I don't want to put it off until the last minute. So I went ahead and checked this out today. I'm at least going to read Listening Woman during this last week of April. In fact, I started it before Tome Topple, and then I only got a couple chapters in and went ahead and sent it back to the library. So it's on my list to get this finished this week. A couple of other library checkouts. I have the audio checked out of The Land of Painted Caves by Jean M. Auel. This is book 6 in the Earth Children series. I would like to go ahead and finish this month, because this will finish off the series for me. I've got the Playaway checked out from the library, and so we'll see. I don't know. When I finish Once a Future King, then I'll need another carry around audiobook, so I'll probably go ahead and start this. And then while I was reading Gemina, I went ahead and picked up Illuminate, because I couldn't remember even some of the character names in this. I'm kind of curious to go back now and read this again to just kind of see how it all fits together before Obsidio comes out, because I think that now I kind of have a better grasp on what's happening. So I may go ahead and read this again. I don't know. So my to-read stack for this week looks like another Tome Topple. It looks like even more than Tome Topple. Will I get all this done? Probably not. I'll have to prioritize. But, you know, it's always good to set your goals high. If you aim high, you'll hit something, right? In May, I'm going to be participating in Middle Grade May Reads, which is hosted by ACOS. And it's going to be a month-long challenge to read middle grade books. So I had already said that I was going to be doing a book a day in May, and so that fits right along with middle grade books. I'll tell you more about that in a separate video. That's coming up for May, and I wanted to go ahead and mention that because it might be a few more days before I get my video done, and I want you to know about it. If you don't subscribe to ACOS, you should. She is awesome. If you like to read middle grade books, or if you've never read a middle grade book, then join in, because it's a lot of fun, and middle grade literature can be really great. So I want to encourage you to join up, and I will put a link down below to her channel. So if you did Tome Topple, be sure you let me know down in the comments, and if you have a video or a wrap-up or a blog or something, then link it down below and let me know. Even if it goes to spam, I'll still find it, and I'll put it back to not spam. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.